Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my F1 2019 career mode here today for round number 19 of the season for the USGP, the third from last race of the season, and we're finally starting to get towards the end of season 2, and already I can start to see season 3 on the horizon. If you guys missed the last race for the Mexican Grand Prix, you can go watch it by clicking the card in the top corner of the screen. With that, before we jump into any further spoilers, basically. Now, for this episode, you can see on the screen right now, we have no chance of rain this weekend, which is good. And personally, we've had a lot of wet conditions this entire season, so for me, a dry weekend is always a good one. In terms of R&D, we as always are not bringing any upgrades, but teams around us have improved, including Red Bull and also Mercedes as well, and also a Racing Point as well, actually, behind us. But as you guys know, if you don't know, then I'll tell you now, but basically, we're just saving up a lot of points to go on a massive spending spree, and we're going to try and really turn this around for next season and really go on a championship push in season 3, because this season, to kind of summarise it, for those of you that don't know, I was actually getting maximum R&D points, and I couldn't really get any more every weekend, yet the AI was still able to out-develop me, so there was not much more I can do. The reason being is because the AI have invested in their upgrades to make the upgrades cheaper and also make them less prone to failure, so basically they can bring them a lot quicker and they're not so expensive. So we're going to invest in that very soon, probably in the next episode, guys. After Brazil, after the race, we're going to do some heavy investing in some of that kind of department, reliability and also efficiency as well, to make sure we're all prepared, locked and loaded and ready to go into the last race at Abu Dhabi, where in that episode we'll put on the actual performance upgrades going into season 3, and I'm going to make sure I do a lot of ultimate upgrades so we get those on the car straight away. But anyway, that aside, we've done practice here. We had some pretty decent points, I had a pretty decent session, and this weekend we're actually using 104% AI. This is a very strong track for the AI, one that also personally, it's a bit of both. I'm not very good around here, so I don't feel too confident. I've never really got to grips or enjoyed Kota, so it's a bit of a tricky circuit for me. So I think 104 is about the right balance, and hopefully it works out. But based on practice, Sebastian had the edge on me, so it should be pretty close, and I think it could be quite an exciting session. Straight away though, jumping into Q1 here, you can see on the screen right now, we're currently 6.5 minutes to go more or less, and we was up against it straight away in the session. My first lap was not very good. It was a very, very scruffy lap, it has to be said. And normally in the past I've had scruffy laps before, but this one was so scruffy to the point where I'm going to have to go again. It's rare that I go twice in Q1, but I'm going to have to strap another set of soft tyres and go again and try to improve. So as you can see already, sector 1 finding a little bit of time there in the first sector split, and we've got to try and find some more time than that, because otherwise we're going to get knocked out here. Sector 2, I'm improving, but not by much, about 0.2 of a second. Like, genuinely, there wasn't much more time in it. Like, even though that lap before was a bit scruffy, it still didn't feel like there was a lot of time left on the table, if you know what I mean. So I knew I had a little bit more time, but this lap was kind of like almost a Q3, or pretty much a Q3 level lap, like pushing and leaving no time on the table. Normally you kind of save a little bit for Q2 or Q3, but this was 95%, I'd say, maxed out to the pace. And you can see here, we improve in the end by quite a bit, around 3/10, and we jump up to P11 then, we avoid a bit of a Q1 knockout scare. But still, even with 2 runs, we were slower than Sebastian Vettel, and 1.8 off the pace. So overall, a big struggle. Red Bull, Haas, Renault, McLaren, and even Mercedes faster than us around here. So it's a big struggle, but we did manage to get through into Q2 and avoid a Q1 elimination with a 129.7, which was actually a decent lap for my standards. In Q2 though, this was interesting. I went out, and the tyres I've got on right now are actually a used set from Q1. And I don't know what happened, but I genuinely didn't give myself a chance to do any form of a decent lap on these. I really thought the lap would be terrible, but somehow I nailed an absolutely fantastic lap on this used set of softs. It's like they were like brand new, but they felt extra grippy for some reason. I couldn't explain it, but maybe track evolution playing a part. But we set the exact same time in Q2 as we did in Q1 on used tyres, and it gets us P10, so straight away a good banker there, and I was really, really happy there. 29.7, really, really good lap. But I've got another fresh set of tyres to use, which I saved right at the end of Q2, and we're going to go out again because we're still in P10 on the risk of getting eliminated. Having said that, we do actually have a 3/10 gap to Raikkonen behind us, so we've got a nice buffer, but I don't trust it. So we're going to go out again and try to improve on the fresh tyres, and you'll see on the delta in the top right as the lap progresses, I needed to make sure this lap was quicker than the previous one, because if I'm going to start the race on softs, I have to start on these tyres, because these ones are going to be much fresher than the others. But having said that, because like I said before, the lap before was so good, I was a bit worried if I was going to beat the lap or not. You can see into the hairpin here, a little lock up, but luckily enough I managed to get a good exit, and we're about half a tenth, almost a tenth of a second up here, halfway through the lap, more or less. So I know now for the rest of the lap, this is where I can make up some time, especially sector 3, because the tyres are a little bit fresher. So we've got to try and keep it together here as we go down towards the hairpin here after the back straight. So far so good as we're now 10th up here, throwing it into the double rights, and we actually lose our delta once again. They go negative, and they're actually slower than our previous best, but now this is where we start to make the difference here with the fresh rubber. Unlike the last one, you can see on the delta we find 2/10 through the double left, and now carrying the speed over the triple rights, just flat out through here, absolutely easy flat. And then you throw the car into the next left-hander, blind over the hill. You can't really see the apex, you've got to just throw it in and hope you get it right. And then the final corner, down a couple of gears, and make sure you get the power as soon as possible. We do improve by nearly 3/10 as we come up to the line, and we go P7 with the 1:29.4, and that was actually my best lap of the entire weekend, full stop. If you watch it back, a very good lap in my opinion, very minimal mistakes, and overall very happy with it. Sebastian Vettel knocked out a P13, even though he'd done a 29.6 in the previous session. For some reason, he got knocked out in Q2, so I can't understand why that happened. And again, I know I'm going to get comments saying 104 is too easy, put it harder, but in Q1, Sebastian was faster than me, and it took him one run. I had to do 2 runs, and he was still quicker than me. And in Q2, he just randomly fell away, so I'm not really sure what happened there to Sebastian Vettel, and a few others as well. The AI just really dropped off the pace. But in Q3, again, this was my first lap, and I actually used a U set from Q1 once again. So same strategy as Q2, I'm going to save my fresh set for the final run. And to be fair, my first lap was really scruffy. There was a lot of mistakes, and yeah, we're going to see if this lap is a little bit better. So here we go then, 5 seconds to go, checker flags on the drop, and this is our final lap of the qualifying session. Straight away, turn 1, pretty decent, little bit of a lock up there, which, in an ideal scenario I wish I hadn't done, but still not too much time lost, and we're actually at 10th up already as we throw it in to the S's at turns 3, 4, 5 and 6. All about setup, having that good front end on your car, as we're currently quickest through the first sector actually, purple sector 1 and a 10th up on Lucas Weber. That is definitely, that definitely was my strongest sector all weekend long. And then our worst sector, sector 3. Sector 2 is okay, we lose about 3/4 tenths, but sector 3 we lose about, like pushing a second. It's ridiculous how much time we lose there. But as you can see, so far so good as we now go into the back straight. This is where the Ferrari can stretch its legs, and even with the car being the 7th quickest one on the grid, we are still very quick on the straights, and we make up a lot of time on this back straight as we now look for the 50-meter board as the reference, down to 3rd gear and then 2nd gear later on, and then even first to get the rotation, and then shortly back up the gears on the short shifting method, and now throwing it into the double right, 6/10 down on Lucas Weber here, and now into the double lefts. Again, got to try and take the wide entry. I've run a little bit too deep and I actually missed my apex a little bit there. I tried to straighten it up a little bit too much on entry. I should have turned it a little bit earlier, but still not too much time lost. If you go through the triple right, it's absolutely flat out once again. And now once again to the blind left, throwing it over, hoping you get the line absolutely right on the power, absolutely perfect through there, not running too wide, and then through the final corner, attacking the inside curb, and on the power, nice and early, DRS open across the line, and we do improve to, I believe, a 29.7 once again. So, yeah, sorry, 29.6, so there you go. That's kind of where my pace was, ideal scenario. I think a perfect lap was like a 29.3 on like an ideal lap, but yeah, we was in the mid-29s pretty much. That's kind of where my pace was. So overall, P9 for us, a decent session, and we managed to get into Q3, and that qualifies Sebastian Vettel, but yeah, overall, not ideal because we're going to start from P9 and have the disadvantage of starting on the soft tyres, which is not the best tyre for this racetrack, so we could be in trouble. Hopefully though, we can try and do something on strategy and turn it around. Either way, that is it for qualifying. We're now going to move into the race for round number 19 for the US Grand Prix. Let's do this.
What fantastic enthusiasm we have for Formula One here in the United States of America. And it's an enthusiasm born from generations of memorable Grand Prix racing. Bruce McLaren took his maiden victory at Sebring way back in 1959, and John Watson's 1983 victory at Long Beach, well, that still holds the record for the lowest ever starting position for a race winner. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, where 20 corners and speeds of up to 200 miles an hour await us on this magnificent racetrack. It's 60% full throttle with plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into turn 1 and at the end of the long back straight into turn 12. What a race we have in store today. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. Everything's on the line here today and the title hangs in the balance. So how do you think they'll be coping with all that pressure?
By trying not to think about the result too much. The worst thing you can do in this situation is think about all the what-ifs. What if I get hit going into turn 1? What if I get a penalty? What if I finish outside the points? If you let any of those kind of worries get to you, you can't focus on the job, so staying in the right mindset will be critical today.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Great work from Lucas Weber yesterday sees him start from pole, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Magnussen, Leclerc, Carlos Sainz and Ricciardo, Norris, Martinez, Butler and George Russell, Raikkonen, Vettel, Valtteri Bottas and Verstappen, Perez, Gasly, Alexander Albon and Lance Stroll, Giovinazzi and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, so here we are then on the grid for the USA Grand Prix, the third from last race of the season. And today could be the day where we're mathematically ruled out of contention for the World Drivers' Championship if we don't outscore the Red Bulls. And I can probably tell you that's going to be the case, as we obviously are probably not going to get anywhere near the Red Bulls in this race. And I think, to be honest, we'll be lucky to finish where we start in P8. I think it's going to be a very tough race. The AI are very strong around here. It's also not my best track. I really don't enjoy Kota that much. So it's going to be a challenge. And we're going to see how we get on here. I think it's going to be a big challenge, and I think those behind us starting on the free choice of tyre are going to have a huge advantage in this race. I think strategy is going to be really key for them. And yeah, we're going to have to see what we can do. In terms of our strategy though, we do have two fresh sets of mediums. I managed to avoid using the mediums in qualifying yesterday and stuck to just using and reusing the soft tyres. So the good news is we have two fresh sets of mediums to use in this race. So hopefully those will help us out in the race long term. Fuel wise, I'm actually running a little bit more than usual. I'm running 1.2 laps extra, quite a bit heavier than normally, but I think we're going to need the extra fuel to defend in this race. And yeah, we're going to try our best and see if we can try and finish the race where we started in P8. At the same time, I want to be aggressive on this opening lap and see if we could try and take a few positions and try and keep everybody behind us pretty much. So yeah, my gut tells me this would be a race of defending, not of attacking. So let's see if I'm right, or if I'm wrong, then that'd be good news. But let's see how we get on. It's time for round 19 for the USA Grand Prix. Let's get to work. Right, let's try and get a good start as we get ready for the 5 red lights here at the Circuit of the Americas. Lights on, away we go. Not a bad start for me, to be fair. I've lost a little bit of ground, but that's okay. We'll recover it into turn 1. We're going to have to back out here as the Renault cuts across. On the power, we're going to try and cut off George Russell here. Just pinch him into the apex, and there we go. We hold on to 8th place, so that's a good start for me. As normally I go backwards at the start of the race, but that's okay. And we've got Norris in front. Let's see if we can hang on to these guys. That's going to be the challenge. The longer we hang on to the guys in front, and you know, if there's battles in front, that'd be great. But I'm not expecting it to be very long. I think we'll gradually drop off as the laps progress. Almost in the back of Norris in the braking. Got to be careful with that. Going for the hairpin. Getting a nice line, to be fair. What we like for straight line speed around here. Let's see if we can compete. It looks like we're actually pretty decent. Rich mix and overtake mode engaged. Can we challenge Norris into the brake zone here? Got to be careful not to collect Ricciardo down the inside of the McLaren. There we go, job done. Fantastic move on Lando Norris there, really nice overtake, not much room. Very narrow line into the apex, and also we almost collected Ricciardo there, but luckily for us, it worked out. So we're up to P7, and a very decent opening lap actually for a change, gaining a position, and they're being aggressive now. Can we hang on and can we keep up? I think Sainz in the other McLaren could be, you know, catchable. I think we can maybe keep up with him, but the Renaults, the Haas, and the Red Bulls are too quick, so let's see how we get on here. But so far, a good opener. Let's see how we settle into this race, and let's see if we have any kind of pace to hold on to the guys in front, or will we fade away into the pack? Wow, front right is already overheating, I've just noticed. This soft tyre is not a good tyre to be on. I think we're going to try and get onto those mediums a little bit earlier than scheduled, because this soft tyre is not going to be the one, as the battles commence in front of us. Hopefully they're heavy battles and they lose a lot of time, because I'm already struggling to keep up with the guys in front.
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
Lots of battles into turn 1. 3 wide and 2 wide action. Hopefully we can just cling on and try and nab some DRS as Ricciardo makes a move on Carlos Sainz there. The P5. Let's try and get within range if we can and try and get some DRS if possible. Okay, we've done enough. We've managed to get within DRS, which is good. Good first sector. Very important for us to have DRS so we can stay in this race, and helps us out in this first stint. Tyre wise, front left is a little bit warm, but not as hot as last lap. Going to be a little bit hot on the brakes here. Luckily enough, we managed to get it slowed down, but this battle in front was looking tasty, and it's helping us out. So long may it continue. I'm barely holding on to DRS, but there's more battles in front between Ricciardo and I think Magnussen in the Haas, I want to say, and that's Sainz is behind them. So hopefully these guys keep scrapping away, because that's allowing me to hold on here. I just need to get through this first stint on the soft tyres. I think once we get past this stint, we'll be okay.
Quick tyre update for you. Everything's looking nice and tidy on our end. Let us know if you start to feel any issues.
I will admit, tyres have improved a little bit. I've not looked at the temperatures because I don't want to mentally have that issue and think about it too much. But the car's hanging in there, and the tyre wear's not too bad. We're actually running at a pretty consistent pace, and I'm able to keep up with these guys quite easily now. So, yeah, overall, let's have a look, see how we're getting on. Yeah, we look okay. Right front's the one that's cooking a little bit, but that's manageable. That's fine. We've got good pace, and we're taking good lines, keeping it nice and clean, and it's working okay for us.
Okay, remember to pit this lap.
Yeah, we're going to pit in this lap. It's been a good first stint. Managed to hang in there, which is what we wanted. Now we've got to try and pit in and have a good stop. Hopefully the key factor here is going to be timing and a bit of luck, so hopefully we don't get held up, but I think that's going to be inevitable. You can see how much I lose when I run lean, mix and none DRS, but here we go. Sainz pits in. I'm going to take out the bollard there by accident into the pit lane, get it all slowed down. There we go, that's a good entry. Looks like no one's coming in behind us actually, so that's good news. So we're not going to get held up, so we might have a chance here of getting past Sainz if it's a good stop. Come on, boys. What a stop, 2.1, but my actual timing on the clutch was perfect. Sainz just stays in front though, unfortunately for us. I think if that was a 1.8, 1.9, we could have had him there, but
We'll be doing one more stop today. One stop left in our strategy.
it is where it is. We're going to get up to speed down the medium tyres. Let's try and hang with Sainz if we can, as best as we can, and hopefully undercut potentially Ricciardo and Magnussen, who have stayed out another lap. Okay, then we're tucked in behind a couple of cars here. Feel like a couple of moves are going to get done, so we need to follow Sainz. I don't want to lose contact with him. We might actually get a chance to pass him, to be fair, because we're going to get the double toe. Look at this. Here we go. We're going to pow past the pair of them. Easy on the brakes to not take out the Toro Rosso in front. Sainz trying to hang it in there, but we're going to just take him. Cover the inside. Job done. We get past the McLaren. Now we've got to try and get past Danny Kvyat. Hopefully we don't lose too much time behind the Toro Rosso. We're much quicker than Danny, so let's try and make this overtake. Lots of grip, a little bit of dirty air kicking in as well. I can't quite make the move here, that's a bit of a risky place. Please pit in. No, he stays out. We'll get DRS though, which is good. Switch back onto the pit straight, there we go, job done. Lose a little bit of overtake as we got, look at that, Ricciardo and Magnussen leaving the pit lane now. One lap later, around the outside, there's Magnussen on the inside, or Leclerc, sorry, actually, it wasn't even Magnussen, it was Charles Leclerc, and we've managed to get one of them. We're going to be right on the back of Ricciardo here. We'll get one chance to pass Danny Rick, I feel, and it'll be this lap on the back straight, so we've got to make it count. A little bit hot there, that's going to invite pressure from behind. I messed that one up an absolute treat, and Leclerc's going to have a look at me here. I'm just hoping we've got enough on the straight. We are quite slippery on the straight, using Ricciardo's slipstream. Leclerc is going to dive one on the brakes down the inside. I'm going to hang it around the outside of the Haas, and there we go, we managed to hold on. Show him the long way around again through this double right, and there we go, we stay in front of Leclerc. Good defensive driving. Let's try not to lose contact with Ricciardo and try and stay within his DRS if I can help it, and try not to drop out. It's going to be really important to stay within that 1 second window. There we go, we managed to stay within 1 second. Personal best, cars in the pit lane. Back up to P8, good stuff. Ricciardo's going to make the move here on the racing point. We've got to try and follow if we can. I think we're too far back to really challenge on this straight though, unfortunately for us, so we might get boxed in here behind this car. for now, unless we send one on the brakes. Never mind, that was rash. I tried to have a look at Bottas there, but we were too far back. And, you know, he was always going to turn in on me there, so we're going to lose ground to Ricciardo here, which is not ideal, but there's more traffic coming up, more one-stoppers, so let's try and push on. Sebastian's one of the one-stoppers, so he could be a factor in this race. He's, you know, quite a bit in front of us still, so hopefully Seb can maybe cause a few problems. I'll say that he pits in, quite an early stop.
Sebastian is in the pits.
Bottas releases me with DRS, which is good, but Ricciardo's got over a second gap, so we've got to try and close that. Lots of cars in the pit lane up to P5 now. Ricciardo P4, let's try and hunt him down. Okay, Ricciardo's dropped us, we're now out of DRS range. I need to try and get back in if I can, but I just don't think I've got the pace. So far it's been a perfect race. I'm definitely not quick enough, but I've managed to play the AI's battles in the DRS detection zone, you know, to perfection. But I think we're struggling now. We're trying to hang on. This is where I lose a lot of time, those sectors, you know, 3 especially. Lewis Hamilton setting the pace. Meanwhile, I'm just struggling now to hang on. The AI seems to have cranked up the pace another level, and I can't really respond. Here comes Leclerc. He's going to have the run on me here. I'm not really going to defend too much into turn 1. I don't really have the pace. I'll let him take the line, and we'll try and follow him. See if we can maybe follow him with DRS, like we did with Ricciardo. Let's just try and stay within a second gap, hopefully. I'm struggling to hold on to Leclerc here. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to save some ERS as well because I was running quite low. Sector 1's okay for me, but then I lose time pretty much over the rest of the lap. Ooh, yellow flag. I think it's behind. Yeah, I think it's Sainz and McLaren behind us. He's just slowed down.
Green flag.
Looks like first retirement of the race is going to be Carlos Sainz. There we go, confirmation. As Sainz retires from the Grand Prix, we've got Perez behind us on soft tyres now. He's going to be quite quick in that Renault, so we've got to be careful for him. Leclerc's really starting to test me now and stretch me. I'm really struggling to hold on now to that 1 second gap, and Perez is putting the pressure on behind now. Okay, Perez pits in. There's a Red Bull in the pit lane as well.
We're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
There's that Red Bull now rejoining into turn 1. Let's try our strong in lap though and try and stay within range of Leclerc as we lock up into turn 1. Right then, decent stint. We've managed to stay in the mix. Leclerc actually doesn't come in, neither does Ricciardo surprisingly. Magnussen does, so we're going to pit in here, potentially undercut Leclerc and get back in front of him maybe, you never know. Let's hopefully have a good stop from the boys. I think we might get held up here, there's a little bit of traffic behind. Come on boys, good stop. Hopefully it's a quick one. You know what, we'll take that, 2.1, that's not bad. I've had a lot worse than that. So yeah, we rejoin in front of Norris, that's crucial on fresh mediums. Let's see what the traffic's like as we get up to speed.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
It's going to be close with Verstappen here, who's on the outside, but we're going to take the line. Looks like, yeah, we're going to just come out in front of Verstappen, so that's good news. Nice bit of clean air. Let's push on. Perez in front of us. Perez has managed to pull off a huge undercut, pitting in earlier, so can we get past him? I don't think we can. We're not quicker than the Renault, so we might have let that position go, to be honest. But let's have a good outlap here. Let's see if we can try and maybe re-undercut Leclerc again for the second time this race. Okay, we've got cars in the pit lane, including Charles Leclerc.
Moving to mix 2. Fuel to mix 2.
There's Leclerc leaving the pit lane now. It's going to be close. Can we get the line through 1? Yes, we do, but we're not really close enough to challenge here, unfortunately. So Leclerc's going to stay in front. Let's try and keep the pressure on. Maybe we can attack him on the back straight. Leclerc's really got some strong pace here. I mean, really strong pace, but he's all over the back of Perez. We're actually catching him up here. So, quite surprisingly, Perez on fresh mediums, not that good pace, to be honest. Into the final corner. Let's see if we can try and follow Leclerc through and make the overtake. Personal best, the acceleration. You can see how much we lose out on the straights. Leclerc goes for the from Perez. I'm just going to see if we can try and follow through here. Not quite. Actually, it's Ricciardo. He's on hard tyres. Okay, so that makes sense. That explains why that Renault is actually quite slow. So hopefully we can get past Ricciardo here. on merit for track position because he's on the hard tyres and make this move. So let's just wait, probably get him on the back straight. Should be a fairly simple pass, but that's going to unfortunately drop us away from Leclerc, which is a little bit annoying, but still, let's try and get Ricciardo for P7. That'd be a good result. Sebastian Vettel also just up the road. I'm presuming going to the end of the race also. Here we go, set out the exit, out the hairpin. Nice wide line there, that's what I'm talking about. Ricciardo does have DRS from Leclerc just, but we'll be okay. I think we've got enough juice here to get this one done. To the inside. Show Ricciardo the long way round, and there we go, down to the apex. Beautiful move, there we go, job done. Right then, I can see Sebastian, let's try and overtake him. Or not, Sebastian actually pits in, so... Interesting strategy, I'm guessing he's going to go softs. I'm guessing he's probably going to strap on a set of soft tyres and go aggressive. Maybe he can make a late charge for the points. He got knocked down in Q2, so he'll have a couple of softs left over, which makes sense. But we're now P6 in this race. If I can finish here, that'd be fantastic. I'd be very happy with P6. 7 laps to go. Let's bring it home. At the minute, we've got good pace here. We're actually dropping Lando a little bit. Gap slowly creeping up. Meanwhile, we are dropping back considerably now from Charles Leclerc, but still, we're pulling away here as DRS goes offline. That's not ideal. Luckily, we haven't got any overtakes, planned. Also, there's a Red Bull here in front of Leclerc. It's Hamilton.
5 laps of fuel remaining.
What's wrong with Hamilton? Why is he going so slow? He's really dropping back through the field. I wonder if he's got a car problem. He is in the hards, but that's a Red Bull. Like, that car should not be in P5, and he's got the quickest lap of the race to his name. So I wonder if Lewis has car trouble. That could be interesting. Let's keep going here. We might have a P5 up for grabs and the chance of beating one of the Red Bulls somehow.
Hamilton is ahead of you. Gap to car in front is 3.2 seconds. They're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 5 laps old. They seem to have an issue. The time last lap was a 1 minute 37.4. We're gaining by around 4 seconds per lap.
There's the confirmation then. Lewis has car trouble. Let's cash in yellow flag. Could that be Lewis? No, it's a bit further ahead actually.
Okay, some information on Magnussen. They're retiring from the race.
Okay then, they're all dropping like flies here.
Caution, caution.
And we're now on the back of Lewis here. We haven't got any DRS. I'm going to make the pass into the hairpin.
Green flag.
Down the inside of Lewis for P4. How has this happened? I've got to trample away now though because I haven't got DRS. But this is what I'm talking about. Finally, we made the investment last season when the R&D regulation change was announced, and we protected all of our durability parts, and our car is super reliable. And finally now, with only a few races to go, the last 3 or 4 races you really start to notice cars start to break down a lot, and now you're really starting to see it. The Haas cars regularly breaking down, and even the Red Bulls now having a couple of issues and taking a few penalties here and there. So finally the long game has paid off, and this reliable Ferrari is finally paying dividends for us, and we're actually getting a few extra positions and a few extra points because of it. So we're P4 in this race. If we can bring this home, I'll be absolutely ecstatic. Here we go then, last lap of the race, into the final sector. We've not been put under any pressure on the back straight. Norris is closing me down quite quickly now, but he's going to run out of laps as Lucas Weber wins once again, but this time it's going to be massive for the championship. Lewis Hamilton's going to finish, I think, outside the points due to car issues. So this could be very interesting, and that could give Weber maybe the title. But for us though, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but we're going to finish this race P4. I don't know how it's happened, but it has. What a race. Get in. Grazie ragazzi. Forza Ferrari. Grande lavoro. Grazie.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Judging from today's race, it must be pretty hard to fend off Devon when he wants to pass. Your former teammate is now in the top spot in the championship table. Are you happy for him? Lucas's win today was a definite improvement over last weekend, wasn't it? You were cutting your way through the field during the race. Great, well that's everything.
Right, so looking at the final race results here at the US GP, Lucas Weber wins, and it's a dominant win, 26 seconds clear of Sergio Perez in the Renault. Charles Leclerc P3 for Haas, and that's the podium with them top three. We come home P4, 40 seconds off the lead, but you can see how close it was from myself down to Lewis Hamilton in P12. Pretty much 12 seconds covers 8 cars. It was really, really close, and you know the lap times were really, really close. And I think ultimately it just comes down to different tyre strategy, and it could have gone any way, and it was really, really close. Ultimately, I think we just played our cards right. I think we dictated the race beautifully. Our strategy was on point. We tried to stay within DRS as much as we could, and trying to get into any stupid battles, and also relied upon the AI having a lot of battles amongst each other to try and maximise the lap time. And I think we got it perfect. The strategy, pit stops, all of it. We didn't get held up in the pit lane. It was all spot on and on point. And unfortunately for Sebastian Vettel, he does miss out on the points there, P11. Unfortunate, because he was on the super softs, and 1 or 2 more laps, and he could have made a few more places up without a doubt. But yeah, overall, a big race in the championship, because Lucas Weber wins, Lewis is P12, and that's not all, because officially I'm now out of the running for the championship with 2 races to go and only 50 points up for grabs. It's game over, and we can no longer win the championship. Lucas Weber actually overtakes Lewis for the lead in this race, and with 2 races to go, the gap between the 2 Red Bulls is 10 points, and it's so close, and you can bet it's going to go right down to the wire. In terms of the constructors, you guys already know Red Bull have pretty much dominated all season long. They've got double the points that we have pretty much, but having said that, with 2 races to go, we've currently got 31 points over Haas, so I think we can bring this home. I think we can hold on to second in the constructors, and we can hold on to third in the drivers, which would be fantastic. And also, I'd like to see Sebastian maybe solidify P7, maybe even challenge Butler for P6, but I think that's not going to happen. So if we can finish where we are right now, that'd be a good result and a good season for us. But guys, that is it for this episode, and in the next one, we will make some big purchases for upgrades. It will happen in the next episode, guys. We're going to buy plenty of department efficiency upgrades to make sure that our team and everything is prepared for us to really push on going into season 3 of career mode. But guys, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like, and also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 content, and also turn on notifications to not miss any videos from me. And also finally check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But guys, that's it for this video. I'll see you in my next one very soon, but until then, it's goodbye from me.